We're continuing Ashcha Aruch Arachai Milchot Shabbat. We're up to Siman Shin Bet Seif Yud Daf Petet Amud Aleph of the regular prints of your Mishna Beruras. Maran writes, Harochetz Yadav Tovel Nagavam Bekoach Zubazu. When you wash your hands, in order to avoid the problems of libun and schita, you don't want the towels, the magivit, to become too wet, and hence, therefore, you should try to squeeze the water off of your hands before you shake off, so to speak, the water off of your fingers and your hand before you start drying them. You want to take away as much water as possible before you start drying your hands, in attempt not to get into the problems of libun and schita. The Rama adds, that those who are not as specific about this, because this that we mention, that soaking the garment, wetting the cloth, is considered kibus, is considered cleaning. We only say it when you're trying to clean it. We don't say it in this setting, because this is considered dirtying something, not cleaning something. You're literally wiping your hands clean, which means if there's any dirt on your hands, it's going to be getting onto this cloth, onto this mapa, this towel, and therefore it's not cleaning process, this is dirtying process, so to speak. And therefore, you don't have to be really that concerned about it. And this is the minhag, that we don't have to shake off the hands too much. You don't have to be too specific about this. Therefore, you can even dry your hands. Imagine back in the day they didn't have the disposable diapers that we have nowadays. They would wrap a baby with a cloth. Now imagine you have a long cloth that's wrapped around, and part of it has been wetted by the baby using it for bathroom, and the other end of it you want to use for drying your hands after washing it. So that's not cleaning anything. That's, again, it will be you're trying to have a reveat of water get into this garment in order for it to become batel the meraglaim that's in there. But you can't just pour water on it. You can't pour water on the cloth. That's already like looks like you're washing it off, and therefore that would be a problem. Usually when you have meraglaim and you want to be able to say brachot and tefillah there, you have to pour a reveat of water, and that would be nullifying the meraglaim. So here you can't directly pour water, but you could do it indirectly, as we discussed. As the Chafetz Chaim, אבל מדין השאר לשתי דעות בהגה לקנח במפה וכמו שכתב בהגה. Even though the Maran over here writes tov lenagvam, that's exactly what it is. Tov lenagvam. It's a recommended code of conduct. It's not an obligation, because Mikaradin is mutar, according to both the lenient and the stringent opinions before. And this he says bekoach means you are trying to satisfy the opinion of the Yesh Machmirin that the Mishna Berura discussed. If you remember the three opinions that the Mishna Berura discussed in the preface to this halachot, at the end of Sif Katan Lametet, the Svirale, the Bechol Gavni Amrina Shriato Zuikibu. So that in any scenario we hold Shriato Zuikibu. So doesn't make a difference. Even if you're doing it derech lichluch, the Yesh Omrim, the last Yesh Omrim held that still will be asur, and therefore you're trying to satisfy that by shaking off your water off the hand, shaking off the water off your hands before drying them. So in the Yesh Shum Chashash Kibus, if it's just a little bit, your hands are a little wet, a little damp, that according to anybody, is not a problem. According to everyone, that is fine. So says the Mishna Berura, derech nichluch. This the Rama says that this is considered dirtying it, not cleaning it. Any dirt that would be potentially found on your hands, it would be getting onto this mapa, and therefore it would be mutar. This is important. This is only with a towel, with something that is made to dry hands, to clean hands, because you're not really makpid. You're not specific about if they get wet or not. It's not a garment. It's not your suit. It's not your dress. If you're doing the niguv with something that you're normally makpid, you're specific, you don't want it to be wet during the weekdays even, then it's asur. Because maybe you can come to do schita, and therefore that will be an issue. We already discussed this before. This is only when you have a lot of water, says the Pri Megadim, but a little bit is fine. Nobody is going to be concerned about squeezing when you just have a little dampness in the garment. So therefore, even if it's something that you would normally be makpid, says the Pri Megadim, you don't have to be that specific about it. Now, this brings us to the next Seif. Maran writes, if your hands are dirty now, you got some mud, some dirt got on your hands, and you're passing by the local horse or the cow, and you want to just wipe your hands off with the tail of your local horse over there. So it says the shcharuch, you can do that. And you could do it with thick cloth. They had nowadays you have this like heat gloves that are thicker, or the working gloves that are thicker and more rough. So you had equivalent of that in the time of Chazal as well. There was a mapa. Instead of being a glove, was a cloth that was very thick and many folds, and you could clean it up with any of those. But you can't clean it off with the regular cloth that you dry or you clean your hands with, because you don't want to come the way that you do it in Yemot HaChol. In weekdays, what happens? You have teeth, you have mud or dirt on your hand, and you you wipe it down with a regular mapa, or a regular cloth. Then afterwards, you go wash off the cloth and hang it up for next time to be ready. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that type of thing. So therefore, you use something unusual, like a tail of a horse is unusual. Having something very thick that doesn't bend so easily, to wipe with that, washing that is an unusual thing. So therefore, that would be the proper conduct over here. Says the Shulchan Aruch in Seif Yud Bet, Asur lenagev kos she'aya bo mayim. If you have a cup, this is very relevant. You have a cup that you had some drink, some water in it, or you just rinsed it and you want to dry it. And this happens a lot nowadays because people want to use kli shlishi for tea, and you've used this cup previously for kli shlishi. Now you have some droplets. You don't want to pour hot water from the urn into the droplets. You want to dry the droplets well, right? So you end up with a cup that is wet and has liquid inside, and now you want to dry it. So Shulchan Aruch says, Asur lenagev kos she'aya bo mayim. Can't do that. Now listen to the details of it. Mishum de'ati lidei schita, because you want to press the towel, the garment that you put inside to dry it, and that is going to bring you to do schita, and that becomes a problem. Now says the Mishna Berura here, Only by water or wine it's a problem. Other drinks it's fine. We're not so careful that you may come to do schita. And many hold that even in yayin it will be a problem. It would not be a problem. It's only in water, or because sar, and this is where it becomes important. In a narrow cup, that it's harder to, you have to push more to get it in and to clean it. You have to be machmir even in not just wine but all the other mashkin as well. But when you have a bowl or a wide cup or mug, it's a little easier to dry it without pressure. Just put a thing and you rumble it around, so to speak, and it absorbs the liquids without having to do any schita. רוצה לומר, אפילו לא הפוסקים לאל בסעיף ט', והאמרם בזה שתיית הזוי כיבוסו, משום דמפה היה נקי, even if you're not concerned about washing the cloth, wetting the cloth, but here you have an issue of schita. משום שמא יבוא לידי schita. And he brings the Radbaz in Siman Reshut Gimel that talks about this very specific question of drying up a cup. The Radbaz writes, people are not so careful in this. It says not that big of a deal. The end davuk because there's not that much water. There's like a little droplet here and there. It's not wet. It's a little damp. So you want to dry it. It's not going to be making enough wetness that it will become schita. Obviously, if you're doing 100 cups, and by the time you're done with the last one, the cloth is tofeach al menat latpiach. Obviously, that's a problem. But you want to do 1 cup, that's not a big deal, says the Radbaz. In ken menagev ba kelim harbe. That's doing a lot. Because then it's going to probably be very, very probable that you're going to come to schita between keli to keli, ra'ui ligorbo shelo yasek, and then you have to stop him from doing that. And the Maran Chida brings this in Birkei Yosef, and semartuva miuchad lekach she'en makpid alav lesochto. If you have a specific towel that's made for this, you're not makpid, you just do it, and you're not makpid, then it's mutar. When you read the after leragev ba kelim harbe shari, then says the Chafetz Chaim, says to me it seems, says the Mishna Berura, that even doing a lot of vessels with it would be mutar if it's a towel that's miyuchad for this. You'll do it from the other side. It's not that much of a big deal. Now, the Mishna Berura says at the end, Seif Katan Samech, and this is an important pointer. He brings the Haskama of Achrim. If you have a narrow cup, then you should not be doing it even with a smartut, with a cloth that is made for this. Because it's impossible not to do schita. You have to press it and you have to push it. But something that's wide and open, on the shulchan, it's an open surface. So you have a bowl that's not narrow, then it's mutar lekula alma, according to everybody, it's mutar lekanocho b'tavashen makpid alav, v'ayin beveur halacha. The Berura here discusses many scenarios of this at length, and for our purposes right now, we're going to leave that, and Bezat should come back to discussing it in the days to come.